Some of you might be watching this and wondering, oh yeah, Shaqtoons, that was a thing. What the hell happened to that? Yeah, TNT, what the fuck did happen to that? What the hell happened to Shaqtoons? Okay, now, in case you don't know, in case you just stumbled upon this and you're like, what the hell is Shaqtoons? That sounds weird. I'm a quickly recap what Shaqtoons was supposed to be. Okay, back 2019, around August, TNT and Shaquille O'Neal announced that they were hosting an animation contest. And I think generally that would have gone unnoticed if it weren't for the fact that the prize was a ridiculous, measly $500 for the winner or winners. And it made a big stink over social media, and the artist community just ripped them a new one, because that is a real slap in the face to creators everywhere, and it is an insult to anyone who considers themselves an animator. And it was a lot of bad publicity, that's for sure. And the idea was that they wanted people to make an animation to accompany some audio clips, the longest of them being 30 seconds or 40 seconds. And they would choose a winner or winner, it wasn't really clear, and the animation would be featured on the new docu-series Shaqlife, as well as, I noted, the $500 prize. And it really did blow up a lot back then on social media and the artist community, just highlighting the predatory nature of contests like this, spec work, if you want to call it. And rather quickly, they backtracked, revised the contest, and they made it so that the prize would be $10,000, which is a significant difference between $500 and $10,000. But considering what an animator would really be paid in the field, it is a proper amount. But still, the initial insult, really left a bad taste in people's mouths. And I think a lot of people realized that it wasn't worth anyone's time if the company wouldn't, a company who has been in business for decades, who produces shows, should know what a proper price should be, or to just hire someone outright. So everyone treated it like a joke, like this was funny, like, are you serious? A lot of people also brought up some past experiences that they had with Shaquille O'Neal personally in the production of his video game. And there's a bit of drama behind that as well. I don't know much of the details because I wasn't involved in that. But as you have probably figured out by looking at the images on this video, that I decided to partake in the Shaqtoon contest. Now, generally, I think there were two types of people who approached this contest. One, like I said, were the people who were initially insulted and just turned off by the way they handled the contest and really voiced their opinion on how bad of an idea it was. And then there were people like me who just kept their mouth shut, because even if we shared it on personal accounts or like work in progresses or screen caps or whatever, saying like, oh, look, I'm working on this, we have artist friends, and they would look down at us like, what are you doing? there was a sort of a peer pressure where people like me who are desperate for the exposure, for the money, a peer pressure for you to be quiet, for you to pretend like you 100% agree, whereas you run off and you attempted to contribute to the contest. And that's why I was not able to find anyone online who spoke out loud saying that they were going to join the contest. But you sure can find everyone complaining about it. And yes, it is a contest. Yes, you will put a lot of effort into it with a high chance of losing. And those are the things you just weigh when deciding these things. Considering that I am a stay-at-home mom, I don't have a job. Even $500 would have been amazing. You know what I mean? My income comes from my husband, obviously, but I found myself with lots of free time, and I already had an interest in animation. So I figured that even if I lose, which is obviously a possibility, that I felt like I wouldn't be wasting my time because I would be practicing, and I would, in the end, have a piece of work that I could show off to my close friends and any potential employers, and so go, yes, I'd made this. And it's true, I did get all the experiences I was expecting, and I realized, sort of troubleshooted the process and the programs, and that would have been fine with me. If I had lost, I still gained what I was expecting to gain, which would be a nice piece of work and all the experience. If you were to look at my website and see the animation page, you would notice that I barely have anything there. And it's true, I barely, just like one or two things. So something like this is a big deal. And obviously, something that could potentially get me lots of money. Something that is normally a third of our annual income. So all I had to do was just avoid the peer pressure from the artist community, and if I lost, I lost. If I won, then I could brag. But that's when the problems really started, for me at least. Obviously, this contest was a hot mess from the very start. So by the time I found out about the contest, there was only 2 weeks left to the deadline. So for 2 weeks, I stayed up and I worked on the content. And I worked on the cartoon. I did the proper thing and storyboarded and gave myself a schedule, one that would actually end a few days prior to the deadline, so I would have time to either catch up or polish things off, whatnot. So I worked really hard. That's pretty much it, you know. If I were to be making something for my own use, so personal use, I probably wouldn't have condensed it so intensely in 2 weeks, but I still would have spent a lot of time on it. And another factor as to why I decided to join was I had a bit of a strategic approach to it. Because one, since so many people seem to have voiced their discouragement from joining the contest, that not that many people would have joined, or at least not that many serious entries would have been submitted. And I also picked the hardest audio clip. There were 10 audio clips. So I assumed that perhaps there'd be one cartoon per episode or something, and that there would be like multiple animations picked, multiple people would win. And there were plenty of very easy ones like, oh, Shaq in a tiny car, or Shaq playing video game, things that sort of write humor to themselves. So I went through them, and I even tried storyboarding very quickly, whatever came to mind. And I purposely picked the hardest one. I purposely picked the one that barely had any visual imagery that came to mind, because I knew that, again, given the choice, people wouldn't pick that one, and I would have less competition if it was one audio clip category picked. So I felt, I would at least have a better chance at winning if I approached it in that strategic manner. Now, you may be wondering, again, or still, why am I showing the animation here? Didn't the terms of service say that once you submit the animation, TNT would own it forever, and that I'm not allowed to show it elsewhere, and that it would essentially be stealing your artwork? Perhaps that's true, but we'll get to that in a moment. When you initially download the audio clips, they did send an email saying, thank you for entering and considering blah, blah, blah. And it mentions that after the submissions are entered, that they would have a video gallery put on the website so that you can see all of the all of the entries, winners or losers. So in a sense, they were promising that you would still be able to share your video online through them. And I think that clause in that terms of service or conditions where they say that they own all the entries, winners or losers, is just to legally cover their ass so that they can host and display the videos on their website while they're doing the judging process. So I wasn't really that concerned about that clause in the terms and conditions. But just to be safe, I did change some colors around in the video, and some edits, some pretty obvious edits, and something else I will get to in a moment. So the deadline approaches, and I attempt to upload the video. I attempted to upload the video, and I think I first started on the PC, on desktop. I clicked upload, I selected the file, and nothing happened. No new page, no pop-up, like literally, it looks like nothing happened. Like, does it go in? Did they get accepted? I couldn't figure it out. In the terms and conditions and stuff, it did mention somewhere about the entry having to be in the proper format, but nowhere does it ever mention what the format was. So I had to go and save the video in like 10 different types of formats, in 10 different types of sizes, until I could finally figure out which one would be the one that worked. And I think either it was through my phone that I was able to upload it, but it was this weird like mobile format, and it was absolutely itty bitty, like low res and like small size, considering I expected this to be shown on a television. I did it at the maximum dimensions possible, that the submissions were these tiny weird files. So that was frustrating and very panicky, the idea that I didn't know if anything was working until I realized that the confirmation page or the next page doesn't show up. I think that it was a form actually where you put your information that didn't show up until you figured out what the file format was. And I just thought, okay, maybe the gallery that they have set up is going to be ideally for mobile, and they don't want to clutter their servers with a bunch of giant files. And I just figured that they would approach the winner and ask for the original file. And this is all assumptions because there's no information anywhere. And I think I submitted it like 3 times, trying to up the resolution or something, the quality, because it was just crud. So that's another thing. If the terms and conditions, if that's still void, if that's still valid, then the video that they own is this tiny, blurry, serious version with their audio. This version that I'm showing you is obviously a different version. It's larger, it has different colors and different imagery. It's a different video. So they can't claim ownership on this video because that's not the one I sent them. So screw them. I can show off my work, hard work, and they can't stop me. Of course, the story doesn't end there. Of course it doesn't. And despite me having sent it 3 times, I did not get any confirmation email. Usually say, oh, thank you for your submission, blah, 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 hold on tight. Similar to the one that they sent where you downloaded the audio. So obviously they had the system in place, but it wasn't working or something. I don't know what the heck happened. So I was generally very antsy and nervous. I guess I was scared because everyone's saying this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea. I do it anyways, and it's starting to think like, yeah, that's a bad idea, right? And I neurotically check the website practically every day trying to see if there's any updates, because obviously they're not sending emails to nobody. And 2 weeks pass. 2 weeks pass, and the website is exactly the way it was the whole time. Like, the deadline passed, so why is the submission form still up? And in theory, you could have just worked a little harder on it and submitted it, and perhaps they wouldn't have noticed. And that is absolutely frustrating because you're already stressing out so many people. You're already showing incompetence in the way you approach the contest in the first place, and now you have incompetence in like just running the website and the deadline in general. And I think it wasn't into Salty DK Dan made a funny video making fun of the Shaqtoon contest and making his own version of it, that people sort of remembered that it was a thing because they kind of forgot after 4 weeks. And when they visited the website, I guess it just ticked off to the TNT tech support servers saying, oh, everyone's visiting the website. Oops, we left the forum up. We didn't update it. And after that, the website would just say something like access denied. Not like, oh, stay tuned, or this was the contest, century's over, haha. No, just gone. Like they're just pretending like it didn't happen or something, right? And I still kept checking it. Still kept waiting and waiting. And then I figured, okay, maybe they're not doing the gallery thing, all right? Maybe they're not publicly talking about it anymore. Perhaps they're still gonna pick a winner for the TV show and it's just gonna be a private exchange, right? And I waited. Into this April, I was obviously following the social media accounts of TNT on Facebook and Instagram. And so eventually in April, they announced that the Shaqtoon TV show, of which the Shaq cartoons were supposed to be for, was airing. So editing and production was done. And that's when I really got angry. But I gave it just a little bit of time, just wait it out a little bit. Maybe they're still in the show. Maybe again, it was a private thing between them and the winner, and I get to see the winner. Or maybe they save it for the last episode. I waited till the last episode aired, and there's nothing. There's nothing. Although it does seem like the audio clips that were used for the contest were part of a big stock of video audio that they recorded of Shaq just talking and commenting, and you can hear that same quality of audio and sort of line of dialogue that were used in the contest, the audio, just scattered around the TV show as part of the narration. So that's my conclusion, is that if they abandoned the contest, if they just dropped it and decided not to do it, then I shouldn't be held accountable for terms of service or conditions for a contest that doesn't exist anymore. And I can't find the terms and conditions anymore anyways. I actually did contact the person in charge of creating the copy and social media presence for the contest and all that stuff and graphic design. And I asked her, hey, do you have this thing laying around? No response. I was diligently commenting on practically every Shaq related post made by TNT on Facebook and Instagram, asking about the Shaqtoons. I even asked a few times, do you still have the terms and conditions of that contest? There's a contact form on the bottom of the TNT website that I used as well, asking about the terms of service. I'm not specifically the contest, but just the terms of service that existed, because I just want to check somewhere around there if there's some sort of clause that usually is added in the case if the contest is just canceled, right? Because that's the only legal footholding. If there's nothing in there, then they are equally bound to the terms of conditions than the entry artists were when submitting their artwork. But they've been ignoring me. And I know they've been ignoring me. And every time I comment on one of their posts, because the most any of their posts ever get about the advertising of Shaqlife is like 10. They see me. They ignore me. Whoever's in charge of social media knows about that annoying person and is probably hiding my comment from other people. But the fact that they kept ignoring me and not like reassuring that perhaps someone did win the contest and they are being shown and blah blah blah. Like before the last episode aired, I knew that this shit wasn't happening. And that pisses me off, Like, yes, I went into this contest knowing that there is a big chance that I would lose. But the expectation is that one person, or several, like I said, I wasn't quite sure, that someone was going to get the prize, that someone was going to have their hard work published. But no one did. No one won any prize money. No one got picked. They didn't even address the issue at all. They didn't say, never mind, we're not doing this anymore, or nothing. Even when I asked about it, they don't want to respond to it. They just pretended like it didn't exist. Like, first, they try to cover their ass by offering a larger prize. So obviously they're serious about the contest. If they decide, oh, see, we made a mistake, we are offering people $500 like an idiot, let me raise it up to $10,000. Obviously they were serious enough to dangle that amount in front of people's faces, but not go through with it. I don't know if their website was just utter complete shit and no entries came through, even though I thought maybe they did. Or maybe they got too many troll videos and they just gave up. Or maybe, more realistically, maybe when considering the editing of the TV show and the producing it and putting it together, they realized, oh, it doesn't really make sense for us to throw a random cartoon in there. So why start the contest in the first place? You know what I mean? Or at least just formally say, whoopsies, yeah, this isn't a thing anymore. No, they don't. They're not professional at all. And anyone who's not an idiot like me should obviously, they saw it from the beginning. You know what I mean? But I didn't really expect this level of ridiculousness. I did not expect this level of unprofessionalism, and I did not expect this level of just total fuckery. You know what I mean? I expected to lose, but gain experience and have a nice little portfolio piece I can personally show in private. But no. They insulted absolutely everyone. They insulted the person who would have potentially won. And that's messed up. So no, I am not complying anymore. I'm going to show you my cartoon. I'm going to show you my hard work. I'm going to be proud publicly. And most importantly, I want to point out how much more of insulting TNT and Shaq are. You know, everyone made a big stink about $500, and they really wanted to put the company down and shame them for attempting to offer $500. Well, they need to be shamed for this too. They need to be shamed for trying to sweep it under the rug. They need to be ashamed of having whatever amount of people work hard for 2 weeks and not offer the one person who deserved it to get it. Hell, maybe I'm the only person who submitted an entry. That would have been even more absolutely hair pulling to think that I could have been the one who won because I'm the only one who took the risk. See, there's so many ifs and buts and just absolute fuckery that just makes me angry. And I need to say it out loud. I don't care about no terms and conditions because obviously they do not comply to their own terms and conditions of actually going through with the contests. So I hope you enjoyed my animation. I know my rant was a lot longer than the animation, but hey, it was only like 30 seconds, and apparently it takes like, I don't know, 150 hours to 30 seconds of animation. But I did a good job. So I hope you think so too. And I hope that you also make a stink about this. You know, just follow up on that big old stink you did back in August when they tried to insulted you with the $500. Because this is even more worse than that. Ciao.